Frank Fear and Mickey Plumley. We're up here in Morgantown on a live remote. We're pretty excited. Name right. Colasante's restaurant here in Westover area, and you're not right straight to the stadium. Stop by here and get you something good to eat. Great food, great atmosphere, great waitresses. See their names up on the board here in front of us on the desk. Restaurant and the name of the waitresses who take care of you. So stop on in. Colasante's, get you something good to eat, guys. Homecoming, and Mickey, you're here for a little reunion yourself. And trip in from Michigan to be with us. Pretty excited to be here. This is always fun to do the live remotes from Morgantown. We've been up here a few times, and it's always a good time. And Frank here in a little bit, and Mickey, we're going to have one of the former Mountaineer players in. Good. You've been practicing. I can tell.
Not working.
Until we get that fixed, we don't want to have anybody in here eating after a while. Anyway, Frank, like I said, it's always fun to be up here. We've been up here and done this a few times, and it's always exciting to be in Morgantown, being here, and we love covering the Mountaineers, and we're going to do the same thing today. Our locker room then and now, and try to cover what's going on presently as well as things that's gone on in the past, and we've got some.
Yeah, it's always, for me, it's a second home here in Morgantown. And always enjoy coming back. This is our third remote. We've done in 25. We were at Kegler's for the spring celebration in April, and then with the good work that Brian Joswiak does, Joe's Knows Kids fundraiser at Lakeview Country Club in July, and now thanks to the great welcoming of Anthony Colasante, we're here at his restaurant and enjoying the great food, and just put an emphasis point on what you said, Greg, that Anthony has a great restaurant here and the food is fantastic. Great Italian food, sports bar. Couldn't be happier to be here.
Absolutely, and we experienced some cuisine before the show. Hawaiian pizza was on my menu, and I was like, Kukuiho, I love you. Good stuff, and I don't know what you guys ate, but what I have was delicious. So people need to stop in here and check it out. All right, enough of this blabbering going on here with me. I'm going to slide out here in just a second and let you guys introduce our first guest up here. Again, former Mountaineer player, a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, and I know a good friend of Mickey's. And we're excited to have Bob Zatelli with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hear you guys talk to him. So I'm going to stop. Frank, if you want to introduce Bob, I'll just quietly slip away.
Very good. Well, it's always good to see a friendly face here from Pittsburgh who came down to Morgantown, Bob Zatelli, best known for his work on the 1970 Mountaineer football team, and an educator, entrepreneur, and still living in the Pittsburgh area, and played with the guy right next to me, Mickey Plumley. So, Mickey, I'm going to pass the baton to you, and let's hear from Bob.
Hey, thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. homecoming weekend, but also it's a tribute this weekend to the Bowden era. And Coach Bobby Bowden was here for 10 years, 4 years as an assistant coach, offensive coordinator, in which I had the opportunity to play for him under that procedure that he was going through as offensive coordinator, and then he got promoted to head coach, and Bob got to play for him in a head coaching capacity starting in 1970. So welcome, Mr. Zatelli from McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania. Good to have you in the house.
I'm glad to be here, Mickey, and especially Mr. Antonio Colasante for hosting us today, and Frank inviting me to say a few words. Always good to see my teammate Mickey Plumley. So, you people at the Mountaineer Nation, I was just thinking on my drive in today from Pittsburgh. Why is a guy from Pittsburgh coming to WVU in Morgantown? But to me, I never regretted my decision to come here, receive an education, play football, Division I. But more importantly, I know our boys are struggling a little bit with the win-loss game, but as a former player, no one goes on the field wanting to lose. Everybody wants to compete to the best of their abilities. So our team right now really needs a Mountaineer Nation support more than ever, going to the ball games and cheering the team on the best that we can. I just think that's very important that we all keep things in perspective with Coach Rodriguez and the staff and the players as the program continues to evolve and develop. There's no doubt in my mind that at some point in time we'll get the program on track, get the players on board, and bring home more victories that the Mountaineer Nation certainly deserves. So I'll be at the game today. My heart will be on the field with the players, and I hope our fans give the team the support that they need.
Maybe we get your body out there too.
I don't know if I got a fourth quarter left in me, Plum. I mean, I'm up in years, and I was talking with Greg earlier. A few years back, Texas was in town, and we had a chance to be down on the field for warm-ups. But as the game progressed, we were at the locker room end zone for players, and that Texas team, they just started a drive down the field, and I could not believe the size of both teams' players. I mean, these fellows are out there, offensive, defensive linemen, 6'5", 6'7", 6'8", 3 1/4, 350 pounds. And I'm thinking, what are these guys eating for a post-game meal? I mean, they're massive, but they also have the agility, the strength, and the fortitude, play after play after play. So, college athletics, if you stop and think about the 100 or so teams in Division I, they're very, very select individuals that have an opportunity to play college football. So, not to be disrespectful, but out of the millions of high school players that are out there, there may be 2,000 or 3,000 that play on a Division I level. So they certainly deserve the kudos for what they're trying to accomplish, as well as have a successful team, fulfill their academic requirements to get their degree and move on with their lives.
So being from the McKees Rocks, Pittsburgh area, Bob, you've got to take a lot of special to heart with the Pitt win this year. Even though the rest of the season has been a little bit disappointing, you've been able to give it to your buddies back in McKees Rocks.
I have no greater satisfaction than walking into my local gym wearing my West Virginia hat. I mean, they're all Pitt and Penn State guys at the gym. I'll take it on the chin. But now's my time to give it back a little bit. So, I enjoy that. I enjoy kind of rubbing a little salt into the wound, those Pitt fans and those Penn State guys. But I know there are quite a few ball players in the gym. They're my age. They're up in their 70s. But the one thing that I noticed the last few years is they don't particularly get together and have the bond that us Mountaineers do. So I guess, it just comes with the territory being recruited at that period of time. Coach Biden and his assistants, and, instilling in us over a period of 4 or 5 years. I remember a lot of the conversations and talks that Coach Biden would give us as men, treating us as men. And one of his greatest comments and talk that he ever gave us was that it was about the 3 F's: our faith, our family, and football, in that order. And that kind of resonated with all of us. And when we get together, there's no greater feeling in the world than being with your former teammates. So, yeah, I'll rub it in the pit. I can't wait to get at him again next year.
There was a great get-together last night in the tribute to the Bowden era. There was a reception held last evening at Kegler's, too. Bob was there, I was there. I think we probably had 85, 90 people show up.
Yeah, we had a nice crowd. We had a real nice crowd last night.
And even his 2 sons, Terry Bowden and Tommy Bowden, showed up to participate in that, along with a number of athletes and well-known names from over the years at WVU. But back to your point, Bob, about the size difference. When Bob and I played, I was offensive tackle, 6'3", 230, and Bob, you were what, guard at?
Yeah, I was a guard. I was a guard at 6'2". My heaviest weight was 238.
So you can add 100 pounds of that today, at least, right?
Yeah, we were outmatched. Physically, we were outmatched. I don't know if they were. I think we outmatched our opponents in our tenacity because of going into it. I mean, you look at we were outmatched physically, but you just can't take the fight out of the dog. The dog's going to keep coming at you play after play after play. So that's a given, and we never quit. We weren't allowed to quit. Number one, within yourself. You're on the field to compete and give the best you can, 110% every play. I don't know what's the average offensive play? 5 seconds, 3 seconds. So give your best for that time. And the other thing is, particularly if you're a senior, each play. This is for some of the younger high school kids. If you're a senior, that's your last year that you're playing. That'll be the last play that you run. That'll be the last win or loss that you'll remember. So there should be no excuse on why you can't give your best effort for every play for your team and your school and your community. And so I hope that kind of resonates with some of the younger Mountaineers here throughout the state, to always give your best for your teammates, for your school, and also your community who supports you.
Yeah, it was great to run into some of those guys last night, some of which I hadn't seen for years. Any notable names of folks that you ran into last night? I know from our era, we had probably 8 or 10 people there. George Henshaw, who was George's captain, I think, of the 70 team, wasn't he?
Yeah, George is a Mountaineer Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I ran into defensive back Al Nebraska, former offensive lineman, lives in the Villages of Florida, Terry Voidhofer, another lineman, Tom Kuser, today. Also ran into a fella. We used to go one-on-one at practice every day pretty hard, Danny Wilfong, a defensive tackle. I'll tell you what, he was probably better. I'm going to say he was better than a lot of the defensive linemen that I played against. I mean, that's how good he was. But he made me a better player, and I sure hope that I made him a better player while he was here.
I'm sure you did.
I hope Danny comes to here. Is Danny coming?
Well, he told me, I called him a little while ago. He said he's on his way over here, so hopefully Danny will be able to participate in the show here
He's,
just a little bit.
he was a man among boys when we were in school. He was a great defensive tackle. I love him dearly.
Those out there in the listening audience may remember us talking about the Bombers or the Bomb Squad in previous shows. Danny actually started off as a walk-on, even though he had a couple of scholarship offers outside of the state of West Virginia. His dad said, no, you're going to Morgantown to represent your state as a walk-on. And he ended up eventually earning himself a scholarship, but he made not only himself better throughout his tenure at WVU, but he made each of us better going up against us, because you talk about giving 110%. No quit from Danny Wolfon. Never was, never will be.
Nope. I can't wait to see him walk through the door. Yeah, we don't have to go one-on-one here in a restaurant. So,
Hey, you guys may want to say a few words about this cap here that's been sitting, and why that cap's there, and what it means, and who said it, why he said it, and what he stood for.
Well, there you have it. This was Coach Bowden's favorite and only curse word, dadgummit, is what he'd come out with every time he made a mistake or something didn't work out quite the way it was. So we all remember him by that one word, dadgummit. And as a matter of fact, this hat, courtesy of one of our former players who's now deceased, Jack Hammond, his wife and their daughter have a screen printing and embroidery shop down in Charleston, West Virginia, and they were kind enough to make up in honor of Coach Bowden about 15 of these hats, which we handed out to selected individuals at the get-together last night. So if you see somebody wearing a dadgummit hat, you got to walk up to them, introduce yourself, and say, hey, you played for Bobby Bowden, didn't you? You want to add anything to that, Bob?
The 4 years that I played for Coach Bowden and his staff, I could honestly say I didn't hear a word of profanity to come out of their mouths at practice, in a meeting room, in a pep talk, or even if you went in, periodically once a month we had to go in for a little academic meeting with our position coach. And, sometimes they get a little upset maybe with our behavior or something that we did outside of the line. But profanity just wasn't tolerated. And, that's just the way they were. That's the kind of men that they were. And, I stop and think about Coach Bowden's longevity in the number of years that he coached, and just multiply that by the number of teams, players, and lives that he's touched while he was in this earthly life. It's an amazing fact to stop and think about what this man did in the course of his lifetime, and the things that we learn not only from him but from his staff that carried into our lives, our families, our occupations, our relationship with others, and our care and love for our teammates at this stage in our lives. So, say a little prayer for Coach Bowden. Thank you for what you did, and I hope you're looking down on us with a big smile on your face. I would say that many of the ball players, there's not a day that goes by that we don't think about him. So I'll leave it at that. He was a great individual.
His spirit's right here with us today. No doubt of that. What a legacy that he left, and such an honor to be here this weekend to celebrate what he built here in Morgantown. He wasn't as successful here at WVU as he went on to be at Florida State, but this was his proving ground as a coach. It's really where he cut his teeth, if you will. As a matter of fact, he recruited most of us. He recruited you. I remember you talking about the story where he came to your house for dinner one night, and your Italian uncle, you want to tell that story?
I was kind of discovered by chance. Coach Biden was recruiting about several quarterbacks in the western Pennsylvania area, 3 of which were within a 5 or 6 mile radius of my local high school. One of the quarterbacks was our high school quarterback. Another one was from our rival high school quarterback, and another fella in Beaver County. And Coach Biden was making the rounds to our rival high school. He wanted a Dave Havern, who ended up going to Pitt. And he asked the coach, the coach's name was Chuck Connor at the time at Montour. He asked Coach Connor, who's that number 65 in a white jersey? And the coach told him, he said, that's Bob Zatelli. And he said, well, that school's right down the road, isn't it? He said, yeah. So he came to school, and my coach introduced me to Coach Biden. They took film home. And then he came back about 2 weeks later. He wanted to meet my family. I grew up in a predominantly Italian neighborhood in Stowe Township, McKees Rocks, and there was 4 row houses, 12 by 12 rooms, 4 rooms. And my mom and dad were at work. My grandparents spoke very little English, so I brought them in. I brought them into my grandparents' kitchen. My grandfather's talking to Italian to Coach Biden, who's from Birmingham. My grandmother, she starts preparing. You got to be Italian to appreciate this. My grandmother starts cutting the cheese, bringing out the pepperoni. My grandfather hands me a bottle of wine, and he wants me to. We got wine glasses out, and he's like asking Coach Biden in Italian, "Chi si beve vino? You want to drink some wine?" And Coach Biden is shaking his head. No. And anyway, we got him a bottle, can of Coca-Cola or something. We sat there and tried to carry on a conversation. And I'm speaking half Italian, half English to my grandparents on who he is and what he does. And my grandfather's just shaking his head like he knows. But long story short, my father came home from work about an hour or so later, and he had a chance to speak with my father, and he said something to my father. And he said to my father that, he said, look, I don't know if your son's going to start every football game if he comes to this university, he said, but we'll guarantee we'll do everything he can to make sure he's successful in the classroom and gets his degree. And shortly thereafter, he got back on the road to Morgantown. And that night, my father sat me down. He said, you don't need to talk to any more schools. He said, you're going to West Virginia University. So that put a lid on it, and the rest is history. So I'm forever grateful I got recruited. And I'm here today. I'm back home again.
Well, to me, it's just so rewarding, because my story on this is and then 50 years later have a chance to get to meet them and to hear their stories and to write their stories. It's fantastic. And the point that Mick and Bob have made is so important, and that is, it's not just about the team and what happens then. It's about the impact that and the consequences in the years later. Both of these guys are very involved in foundation work in their home communities. And so the spirit lives. You could say, well, Bobby Bowden didn't have anything to do with that directly in the coaches, but they did have an influence in terms of what right living involves and what our responsibilities are, not just on the football field, but responsibilities, civic responsibilities, professional responsibilities. And as Mick knows, we've had the joy of having both Terry and Tommy Bowden on the show. Terry just a couple of weeks ago, Tommy last year, and you can just see it. And they were there last night, as you mentioned, Mick, and it's just it's just rewarding, because that's what college football really is all about. It's about the opportunity to engage in athletic competition, get a good education, and then go out in the world. And it's not just about playing pro football. In fact, playing pro football is a very small part of it. It's about who you are, what you believe in, how you live your life, and then the succession of having an impact on others. And I've had a chance to meet the offspring of both of these guys, and you can see it in their children. And so it's quite an honor for me just to sit here with you guys.
Nice to say so. Well, hopefully Mr. Wilfong will be showing up here shortly. I'm going to. Should we call Greg back up here at the moment, or
Sure.
we want to start talking about the game here pretty soon?
Yeah, we will. We will. I was hoping that we could get Anthony up here. He keeps on showing himself. I mean, you're telling stories about pasta and cheese and pepperoni and wine, and we got to get Mr. Colasante up here, but he's disappeared back in the kitchen again. Yeah.
Let's go, Mountaineers.
There we go.
Hey, thank you, Bob. Appreciate you coming on with
Good
us
seeing
today.
you, Bob. Beautiful. Always an honor, buddy. Pardon? We're okay, I think. We're on? Yeah, we're going.
All right, so if you'll indulge me for just a moment, this guy's become a really dear friend of mine, and a heck of a football player back in his day. I actually watched him. He's a lot older than I am, but I did watch him. I went by and watched some YouTube videos of him just so I could say I watched him play. But anyway, he just straggled in off the street, and we're going to bring him up and talk to us a little bit if he'll be kind enough to come up.
He's munching.
He's eating right now, yeah, so we're not going to give him time to finish. Lynn Murray is his name. Come on in, Lynn. And Lynn has a walk. It's not really a walk. It's just kind of a strut. You know what I'm saying? Lynn was a defensive back, played for WVU, and back in the day.
Way back in the day.
It wasn't that far. It wasn't that far. I said I remember when you played, but it was because of YouTube. You're a lot older than me.
I think you're a little older than I am.
Yeah, just kidding. Lynn Murray, the defensive back at WVU. Lynn, tell us about your days at WVU. What were the years and some of the accomplishments and big games you remember?
The years was 80 and 81. I come in here out of junior college. Came in when Don Needham came in. I was his first recruit coming in. Opening game, the first game we played Cincinnati. Really, really, really big for one that I really, really remember. I remember the Penn State games. We just ain't never beat them. We had a really tough time too back in the day with Maryland. But my junior year, they beat us 14-12, I think it was, and then my senior year we beat them 15-12. So it was always one of those hard back and forth games. I think football was a little tougher back then.
Yeah. All the old heads say that. You watch some highlights on TV of games, back then, and you see the way people block, chopping off people's legs and things like that. It was a whole different game back then than what it is now.
The funny part about it is, but they're a lot faster and bigger these days. It's like I know my nephew who's playing at the Cowboys right now. I look at him; he's 6'4", 240. He runs about a 4.5 40. That's just monstrous, compared to back in the day when, I think I ran as a D-back. I ran a 4.6, 4.7, somewhere around there, on a good day. it was a 4.6.
And you watch those guys on TV, like your nephew, for example, looks like a small guy out there. He's
Yes.
6'4", 220, 230. And he looks like a little guy. That's what Bob and Mickey were talking about. I pointed out earlier to you that there's an offensive tackle and an offensive guard that play for WVU, and both of them look like they weigh about 170 pounds right now. These little small guys.
It was funny when you pointed them out and told me the position that they played. I was like, "Just
Hard
said,
to
what? Are you for real?"
Hard to believe. Yeah.
You know,
Times have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, it has. It really has. This game has changed, and but it's good.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really, really good. I think the Mountaineers in a couple of years, I think Rick's going to come around there. I think they're going to do a great job.
We'll talk about that in just a second. You had an interception I watched several times. I've watched it numerous times, in fact, in a bowl game.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That was against Florida. We played Florida, and I remember going into the Florida game. Said we didn't have a chance. It's like, but they didn't know the Mountaineers. The defensive crew that I played with, we had Tally, folks. We were just we like to fight more than play. So we knew that we were going to give them a battle, and I knew that they probably was trying to take us lightly. They had Warren Peace as the quarterback, and they had a linebacker that was supposed to have been really, really good, and a running back. But, we just took it to them. I mean, we took it to them from the beginning of the game, and Coach Brown put in some different defense, and, we took it. I mean, we really took it to them.
Let's hear about this interception.
Well, the interception, it's like, it's something I usually do, 'cause
I got a question. Why didn't you score is what I want to know.
It's like, I told you what I ran. It wasn't like I was a 340.
I saw a big fat lineman track you down from behind.
It wasn't, but I had to run past them first, they had the angle. But it was like, we broke out, put pressure on him. I came from up underneath, and he was trying to get the guy over in the flats ahead of me. And, I was able to come up, pick up the interception, and scoot for, I'm going to say 20, 40 yards. Well, I think
20 or
about
40.
10. About 10 yards.
20 or 40.
It's funny. I think I led the team in interceptions that day, right? Awesome. That year. But I only think I had more than 50 yards in returns. After interception.
That's all right.
So that tells you I was more of a hitter than because I dropped a lot of them too. I didn't have hands. So I was. They had me at the right position.
Let me ask you this. I know you played for Coach Neal, and a lot of people watch our show. That's one of the questions they always ask us about Coach Neal. Ask him about Coach Neal. Yeah. What's your thoughts on? I mean, I know he's legendary and really, I think, brought our program to a different level at WVU. But what's your personal thoughts about him?
As a human being, I think that let's take away the coach, father. Let's put him as a human being. As a human being, I think he's one of the greatest ones I know. Man of his word. It wasn't too many coaches. I was being recruited by a lot of people back in the day. And it was something about Don. I mean, when we came up here, Coach, I remember coming in the office, he didn't even have all his clothes with him. So he had this here plaid jacket on. And I'm sitting up there looking behind him, and as he talking to me, I kept laughing. And he asked me after a while, he said, what you laughing about? I said, you got that Bob Barker jacket. The price is right. And he looked at me and told me, I ain't got all my clothes, but we hit it off very, very well. And I was coming in right when he was coming in, so I don't think he knew the players yet. Me coming in, the strong safety was a young man named Fulton Walker. And Fulton Walker, great athlete.
Yep.
Great athlete. He's fast, can run. So being coming out of junior college as defensive player of the year, I knew that I had, a big task ahead of me. But I wasn't too much worried about that because, as a football player, you think that you're the best at it anyway. Right. So I remember when they moved Fulton to a wide corner and made room for me at strong safety, I just fit right in, you know. And I remember from day one, starting at day one, it was just 6-6 our first year. I think the leadership my junior year was, you know, we're not. I can't say it was bad, but it wasn't the greatest. My senior year, the leadership, you know, we just refused to lose. And then when we lost, we really didn't like losing. We lost to, you know, Pitt. We lost to Penn State, which was tough, you know. And then our last game of the season, we lost to Syracuse, which was really, really hard for us. And so, going into the Peach Bowl, we didn't go to lose. It was a lot of people go to a Peach Bowl, to the bowl game to have fun. Yeah, fun wasn't in our thoughts. Right, fun was not in our. You know, we figured that we were going down there, and we had a job. We was going down there to win a game, and let people know who West Virginia really was. Because after losing to Syracuse, that was, you know, we were ahead, you know, the first half, and they come back and beat us in the second half. Yep. And you know that left a bad taste. And you know, me as a senior, I really didn't want to go out that way. So when we got down in Atlanta, you know, it was business. We're gonna have fun, but we come here for one reason only, and that was to win that game. And people didn't think we would, but we knew that we had something that they didn't have. We had heart.
You guys kind of, you know, in my mind, and again, talking about ages, I was in college at that particular time, and I was not a junior or senior. I was a sophomore, by the way. So that puts our ages there.
Just a little older. Yeah, just a little older.
So, you know, the following year, of course, we'll go out to Oklahoma, and that kind of elevated us. But you guys kind of laid the foundation for that. I think, you know, looking back from my memories of it, you know, 6-6, we were kind of okay with that. You know what I mean? And then the next year we win that Peach Bowl. We're like, man, these guys can be good. And then it just kept going up and up and up and up.
Well, the foundation was set that first year. Yeah. See, okay, the fans might have been okay with 6-6. Right. You know, as players, we let one get away in Hawaii. Yeah. We figured we should have won that game. Yep. We figured that we should have won a couple more of those games. Yep. And, you know, okay, the Pitt was number one. Penn State was number one when we were playing. Okay, we could see that. But then we let Virginia Tech get us. Yeah. So that, you know, it's crazy that I remember every game that we lost.
I remember those games too. Yeah.
But we thought we were, I remember going into the Temple game, and we were 5-6. And we wanted so we just have fun. And I remember that was the same, so that's what we went out there and did, and we had fun, and we found our winning ways. But 6-6 wasn't good for us. I remember coming here the year before that, I know with Cincinnati, they were 2-9. Yep. And, you know, people were, okay, we may have something being 6-6, but we were, it was, our goal that year was a bowl game. Yeah. But we wanted to beat Penn State. Okay, we fell short of those two goals, but we understood that we still had more goals. We wasn't playing to see how good we were. We were playing because we wanted to win, and at any cost, you know. So I tell you, that defense that I played with was one of the. And the offense was good. The offense was just as good, but the defense was just really, really good. I thought.
I know you live up here. You still follow the Mountaineers closely. Before we get on to anything else, what's your thoughts on the current state of the Mountaineers and where you think it's headed?
Rich is a proven coach. Yeah, we know that. Once you get the right pieces, you just got to be patient. You know, and I know sometimes in football, college football these days, the patience is not there. But what Rich, the way he coaches and how I think we're going to be great. I think, you know, just give us, you know, just take your time, patience with him. Yeah. You know, because here he brought in 80 new players this year. Yeah. Probably going to bring in 80 new more next year.
yeah, kind of looking that way.
You know, it's looking really that way. You know, but once he finds the key, a quarterback. Yeah. Once he gets, you know, behind the helm and someone running his offense the way he runs it. then we'll see everything that what we brought him back here for.
Yeah. Well, we've talked at length ad nauseum on this show about the fact that he did bring in 80 new players, plus he's putting in a new system.
Yeah.
So all of them are learning this new system, and he don't have the type of players that fits his system just yet. Not all of them.
Not all.
So I think the games now he's looking for foundation builders. You know, like you guys. Well, to get things headed in the right direction. You run a place called Lauren's Wish.
Yes.
And that's how I got to know you. And I know it's a tremendous project and just a great place. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that. Just are you going to the game today? I know you probably need to get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to the game. Me and my wife said, well, we're going to the funeral.
Well,
but you're going to make fun when you lose, but you're going to cheer.
That's right. I've been making a lot of excuses. Offered several tickets here today, and I was like, I'm just not physically able to climb this hill. Well, we got a blue light pass. I'm like, I still got to go up those steps. And my wife says, you can do that. And I'm like, well, but it's supposed to be 40 degrees tonight, and we're probably going to get killed. But
I looked at it like, I want them to do well. My thing is this. Okay, you lose, but you fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as long as they got that fight with them, I think they're going to be cool.
Exactly.
And they keep that fight, and then it goes not from only this year. It rolls into the next year. Here comes your leadership role.
That's right.
And then once you build that up, then you start to roll it a lot better.
Yep. So. I told Frank on the show last week that I think now what we got to look at is, are they playing hard?
Yeah.
Which they seem to be playing hard no matter what. Even last week when they got killed, they play hard up to the end. And I said, you also want to find players and see how they play when they're behind 35-0. Are they still playing hard? Are they still trying? Are they putting that effort out there? Those are the type of people you can build with.
And understanding this, it's like we're here in the middle of the season. My thing is that the mistakes that just keeps happening.
Yeah.
Is that to win this here game, you got to quit making so many mistakes. And if you quit making mistakes, then you got a chance to at least you'll be in the game.
Right. Have a chance.
You can't keep getting beat deep. Over and over and over, and thinking that that's pitch and catch.
Well, and I have said this too, in my opinion, that the offensive line has struggled. I don't think there's any question about that. And it's all a big machine, and when that defensive line is not putting pressure on the quarterback, it makes it really tough on the defensive backs. That's been part of the problem as well. And I don't know that it's all talent in that defensive backfield. No. It's that we're not getting pressure. We're not doing things that we need to do at other places.
The thing about it is it's hard to hold them. If you're not getting a good run.
Well, you know how it is to guard somebody. You can't guard somebody for 4, 5, 6 seconds.
And I remember the first year. I remember we were learning the system. Don didn't put in, and I remember about the 4th or 5th game, somebody came on the radio and said, "How come the deep backs let them catch it, and then you tackle them?" And I took offense to that. But they have to take it. There's a pride. Playing with the Mountaineers. As if you gotta have that Mountaineer pride and understanding what this is. My thing was I'm playing for blue and gold. You get money these days, but the blue and gold was tough. And so as long as you play for blue and gold, I think that's the biggest
the key.
thing.
That's right. Real quick before you go, tell us about Lauren's Wish real quick.
Oh, Lauren's Wish. Okay, Lauren's Wish is a Dixon Triage Center. All right, what we do is if someone can't find a bed in rehab or sober living, we'll take them in and we'll keep them. We'll find them a bed. I think we're feeling a chain in this here thing. This big thing that's going on in the state of West Virginia. This addiction thing, and we're running out of beds. And so by running out of beds, we come in with this here project of Lauren's Wish. Mike Cole and who's Lauren's father, put a group of men together and a young lady, and they decided to come up with this here project, and they brought me on with it, and I'm very blessed to be there. I think what we're doing at Lauren's Wish is such a blessing, especially for what is going on. We're not going to stop it. We know we're not going to stop it. But if we can lend that their hand and do the things that we do, because everyone at Lawrence, which is in recovery, including myself. So I understand the struggle that they go through. So having people there and to walk with them, I think that becomes a big blessing.
Fantastic. As Frank and I talked many times, we're always impressed by what former Mountaineers accomplish in their life after their playing days. You're no different, and do great work. And again, I've watched you in action, and you do a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's my pleasure to get to know you.
All right, man.
And
appreciate you.
Become a great friend.
All right, appreciate you, my good buddy.
All right, my man.
Lynn Murray, sweet friend of mine, and does great work with Lawrence Wish. Great defensive back at WVU. Lynn, appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you, too.
All right, man. Keep up the good work.
You'll be good.
All right, we will see you soon. All right, as Lynn shuffles out, we'll bring in our next guest. I believe we have Anthony Colasante. I hope I said his name correctly.
You said it correctly.
Don't make you quit playing the bass guitar. It keeps coming in on my microphone. All right. Anthony, appreciate you being here, and I will let you use that mic right there.
We appreciate having you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting us come in here to this fine establishment. I know we talked earlier about how good the food was, and I spent a good bit of time up here working in Morgantown. We ate lunch here lots and lots of days, and when they said we were coming here, I was excited because I knew I was going to get something good to eat. Appreciate you having us in here. This is so much fun for us. We look around your restaurant here. And see all the memorabilia and all the sports memorabilia. You're obviously a big fan of the Mountaineers. And tell us a little bit about the restaurant, how this all came about, how you are where you are today.
Well, like I was telling Frank earlier, that it originally started in 1969. My parents and the mural of the old buildings back there 8 years ago caught on fire, and we decided to rebuild, and here we are. But a lot of this memorabilia was in the old building, and a lot of it got salvaged from the fire. It had water damage, things like that. And then, so when we rebuilt, people came in to see it, and next thing you know, they'd bring something else, and I still have a bunch more to put up. So it's work in progress.
Maybe get Lynn Murray to throw in an autographed photo or something.
That'd be awesome.
Peach Bowl interception, man.
Yeah.
I always put Lynn on the spot. I love that guy. Anyway, what a fine establishment. So if you're in the area, not going or going to the game, come on by and get something good to eat. Great food. And Frank and I we feel blessed to be able to come up here and meet so many great people, and you're one of them. And it's always so much fun for us to do the remote things like this because we get to meet folks and see Mountaineer fans and that sort of thing. You obviously a big Mountaineer fan.
They all are, our whole family. Yep, most of them are tailgating right now. So,
Frank, you want to jump in there and talk to Anthony?
We just met. We talked on the phone the other day, and there really is a storyline that connects everybody we've had on so far, including yourself today. Think of Bob Zatelli and Mickey and Greg. My last physical time in Morgantown was 1973. And who remembers from 1973? I mean, I was off to other things. And so when
Frank, not to interrupt you, but I was up here from 83 to, I don't know, probably 2005. I don't remember any of it. I was always at a ball game. They said, you go in the blue lot, and I said, I don't know what it is. I was always end up in the same spot every week.
But, when we came up with this idea of writing this book about Mountaineer football from late 60s, early 70s, really the Bowden era, Carlin Bowden era, people started contacting me. I contacted them, and they all said the same thing. How can I help you? They didn't know me, but how can we make this possible? And the other day, I was talking with one of those persons, obviously a mutual friend of ours, Ken Jeskowitz, and he said, "Are you coming this weekend?" I said, "Well, we have to have a location." And he said, "Well, I have a friend, Anthony. I think let me call him and see if he's interested." And he called me back and he said, "I talked with Anthony and Colasante, and he's interested, and give him a call. He's right now. So I called him, and of course he didn't. Anthony didn't know me from Adam.
Yeah.
Never met me, and basically I didn't have to explain anything. He said, "Come on down, be here. You pick the time. Come on Saturday and do the show." And people ask me, "What is it? A guy that's been away from West Virginia for a long time, 50 years. What draws you back?" And it's the people. It's that attitude of how can I help you? How can we make this possible? Because so many of us in our lives, it's just the opposite. Okay, you're trying to do something. How can I stop you from being successful? Greg was that way. How can I help you? Mickey was that way. Bob was that way. In fact, it was really Bob who got the idea of the book started. Called me and said, "Hey," and then the book evolved from there. So we really appreciate being here. Not just being at your restaurant, which is absolutely fantastic. I can vouch for the food, but people like you, it warms your heart.
It's our pleasure. Anything for Mountaineer football, Mountaineer Nation, we're right there.
You guys, I know being in Westover, a little bit off the beaten path when it comes to game day and that sort of thing, but nice flow of people coming in all day. I know, like I said, we used to spend a lot of time here at lunchtime, always crowded, packed in here, But like Frank said, one of the things that we've noticed since we started doing this was just how welcoming everybody has been. You obviously, no different, exemplified that. And you obviously are a great host, and we appreciate being here more than you know. I know you follow the game. You follow the Mountaineers closely. I'm just curious, and I know this may sound like a crazy question, but when the Mountaineers are good, is business different?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I thought that might have been a dumb question, but
no, it has a big effect.
I would think that it would.
More people from out of town come back, and people that went to school here, played ball here.
Right.
This is kind of like their old stomping ground.
Right.
So, yes, it has a big effect. But as you can see today, we're not doing that well this year, but everybody's still on board.
Still there.
And the crowd is probably going to be a nice crowd today.
Yeah.
Gold Rush.
Yeah. And, I thought coming up here, well, the traffic's not real heavy. I drove from southern West Virginia up. But then again, I looked at the clock and said, well, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's a 6 o'clock game, so it's not going to be terrible. But I was curious to know and I kind of assumed that if it was, the better the season, the better the crowds, because there's more people flowing in. But this place, to me, and again, I was only here a limited time, but it seems to me like you stay pretty busy most of the time.
Pretty steady, yeah.
You guys are, again, very supportive, and I'm looking at the memorabilia, and I meant to ask you about how much survived from the fire. I know you said some of it did, but I'm sure you lost a great deal of memorabilia as well.
Sure did.
But people have stepped up and filled it back up. It looks great in here.
Thank you.
Awesome place. Like I said, if you're in the Westover area, come on by. Come in here and get you something good to eat. I had a Hawaiian pizza. Frank, I'm not sure what you had that was so good.
I had the white pizza.
The white pizza.
I had the white pizza. It was fantastic.
Right. And Lynn, is that what you had, the white pizza? I knew I'd get him. Steak and cheese. There you go.
Close to it.
That's close. I can get away with that with Lynn. Lynn and I are good buddies. So. I noticed everybody tightened up here like, uh-oh. Shouldn't have went there. But anyway, we appreciate it again, Anthony, so much for letting us come in. Hopefully we can come back some other time.
We're always welcome.
Awesome. That sounds great. Next time we get some events planned, we'll steer them this way and get them out here. Frank, honestly, it's a little bit easier this way because you don't have 80 people standing in line waiting to get interviewed, and then people getting mad because they don't get on the air. I think that's just a little bit better, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Mickey, you want to bring your book up, and we can bring it on up and lay it?
You're welcome.
Anthony, thank you so much. Again, appreciate you. Yeah, thank you so much. Anthony Colasante, the owner of this fine establishment. And again, if you're in the area, come on by and get you something good to eat. Great food, great atmosphere. Great Mountaineer fans here. Mickey has a copy of John Antonick's book, and this is what this weekend is about. Apparently, the celebration of Bobby Bowden and his players that played for him, and some that didn't, that just knew him and maybe was an assistant coach. I think when you played, he was coordinator. The book by John Antonick, Almost Heaven, about the Bobby Bowden era, and that's the book right there in front of you. And I don't know, Mickey, if it's officially been released and you can get copies of it.
It has been. The book is out. They were nice enough to hand out copies last night at the reception.
Awesome.
This book was written by John Antonick,
Yep.
good friend of Frank's, and longtime sports journalist here in Morgantown covering the Mountaineers. This took him, I think, about a year and a half or so. I know he collaborated with Frank on the writing of this book, following up on Frank's book about our team back in the late 60s. But this book is a great read. It covers not only Coach Bowden's time here at WVU, where he spent the first 10 years of his head coaching career, but all 44 seasons that he coached. And when you think about this, I mean, it's just overwhelming, I think. He coached for 44 years. Of those 44 years, first 10 in West Virginia, he had 40 winning campaigns.
That's unreal, isn't it?
40 out of 44 years, he had a winning team.
Unreal.
And he's probably the only coach for 33 consecutive years, 33 consecutive winning seasons at Florida State in his tenure at Florida State University.
Unbelievable.
Frank, you want to add anything on John's
Frank, before you go, I would like to say, with this book being out and your book, for people my age, and I know I tease you guys about the age thing all the time, but for people my age, I was extremely young during this era and your era when you played, and don't remember a whole lot about it. This is so valuable to me, what you guys do. We're putting these books out and given the history. I've read Frank's book numerous times already. I just find it so compelling to read about, the mindset of the players and the camaraderie of the players and that sort of thing. I'm sure this will be the same. And, for me, hats off to you guys for putting these things out. Fantastic.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. And what I was saying earlier, too, Greg was the first to really reach out and say, how can I promote the book, my book. And this book, John Antonick, I've said this before, I'll say it again, West Virginia University is so lucky to have a person like John Antonick because he, in effect, is the athletic historian. Even though he doesn't have that title, he is essentially a content specialist. Make sure that athletic content gets out, particularly through the medium of WVU sports. But what John does is he's an historian who tells a story. He really is, and his books are based on deep interviews with his subjects. And unlike me, who's an academic, who will put a lot of interpretation in, John just basically tells what people told him. It sounds easy. It's not, because you've got to tell it. You've got to tell the story in an exciting way, and also in a way that obviously the person that you've interviewed can say, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. And that's what this book is. I don't know how many people he interviewed, but he had, I think, over 10 years of material that he had put together, and I'm doubly pleased that it's published by WVU Press, because that puts the official stamp on it.
Yeah. And Frank, don't sell yourself short. I know when I first got to know you, one of the first things you did was send me recordings of the interviews that you had done with Mickey and the guys, and I listened to those for several days. So, you put your time in too. Don't sell yourself short on that. And again, hats off to you guys for this. I mean, this is history, and I taught history for 30 years, and to me, it's like a treasure chest. It's a gold mine of history, and if you're a WVU fan, you got to get these books and read them. They're so compelling, and I know you'll enjoy it. And I haven't got a chance to read this one yet, but I most certainly will. Just great stuff, and it is a tribute. And John's been on our show several times, and my gosh, that guy is just like an encyclopedia walking around with WVU knowledge. And if people will listen to him talk, they'll want to read the book after they hear him talk, because some of the stories he told us, concerning Bowden and other things, were just captivating, and I know people would enjoy the stories and the book.
He has inside stories that otherwise you would never hear.
Right.
The one that I'll always remember, just an example, is the story, and we won't mention names here, but let's just say a WVU basketball coach, a WVU assistant coach, recruiting a WVU player who came to WVU, and another school, big school, was recruiting that same player, and the mother misheard what her son had told her about one of the schools that he was being recruited by, and she was very concerned about that, and mentioned that to the WVU coaches when they were in her house with the player, because they wanted him to come to West Virginia. And she said, "I'm very concerned about my son leaving the country and playing basketball in Peru." And of course, he was being recruited by Purdue. So the story, as John tells it and has written it, which is beautiful, the head coach, being ethical, was going to tell the mother, and the assistant coach put his hand on the coach's knee, which was a sign, "Shut up, I think we can get this guy. Let her think that, And there's nothing illegal or anything like that. It's just a great story. It happens all the time, but that's the kind of story that John, and actually the reason I tell that story is that John told the story on our show. So I'm doing nothing more than just repeating a story that John, and you hear a story and you just break out laughing. And by the way, the player came to WVU and had a great career. Not in Peru.
Not
his
in Peru.
Mother was very happy.
Stayed in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess, I don't know, I guess you can get the book probably on Amazon, I'm guessing by now. And I think Barnes and Noble down here has it. So make sure you get you a copy. I'm sure that's going to be a very popular book. I don't have any doubt. But you also need to get Frank's as well. A very interesting book. Like I said, I've read it several times. Guys, I'll tell you what, we're getting a little short on time, I think. I don't know exactly what time it is. Go ahead.
It's 22. We got started late. Two things. We want to say first a few words about Tom Bowman.
Yes.
And Mark Parsons is going to come in and end the show with us and talk a bit about not only Tom, but also his thoughts about tonight's game, which we haven't talked about a lot. And I think the fans will hopefully forgive us for that.
We're not trying to avoid that, are we?
At any rate.
I'd say the white elephant in the room.
Let's talk. We're dedicating this show to Tom Bowman.
Yes.
Don't know how many of you remember Tom. He was a player for the Mountaineers in the early 80s. One of the first, like Lynn, one of the first players that Don Nealon recruited. Tom was a high school star out of Ohio. He was a tremendous football player and a track star. And I think that the record he made in high school track may still exist. At any rate, came to West Virginia, was not a first-line player. But one of the stories that's in Don Nealon's book is I think, just shows you what kind of person Tom was. And Tom passed away this week of heart failure and organ failure. He was only 63. But it's a story about the 1982 WVU Boston College game. And it was a very tight game, and it was at home. And West Virginia had the ball on their own 36-yard line, and it was coming to the end of the game. And Coach Nealon was thinking about, what do I do? It was like 3rd and 4. Do I go for it or do I punt? And so Tommy Bowman was on the special teams, and he went up to Coach Nealon and said, "Coach, I don't know," and this is in Don's book, "I don't know if you're going to punt, but if you do, I guarantee you I'll get the recovery. It's going to be a fumble." So Nealon, as he explains it, and I went back and read that passage before today's show, thought about it back and forth, consulted with the assistant coaches, and decided, even though the fans were booing some, that he was going to punt the ball because the way the clock was such that West Virginia might not have gotten the ball back, and BC may have scored. So he punted the ball. Tommy had a beeline on the receiver at Boston College, hit him just as the ball came, dislodged the ball, recovered the fumble. End of the story, West Virginia not only got the ball back, but scored and won the game. And, that to me is Tom Bowman. We had long talks about a variety of things. He was a professor at technical schools after he got through with his career. Tremendous spirit, loved by all. And let me see, is Mark on the line yet, Darren? Okay, so as soon as Mark comes in, we want to make sure Mark has a chance to say a few words. But I think, this goes back to what you were saying earlier, Mick, and Craig as well, and that is, it's when you look at what these football players do on the field, there's always the question, what happens afterwards? And we lost a true Mountaineer, a great Mountaineer, in Tommy Bowman. I know that that Darren has put his photo up so that people can see him, and just a wonderful person. He'd give you the shirt off his back. That was Tommy Bowman.
Yeah, I know we heard from a lot of his teammates, or I have, that talked about what a great person he was. We didn't know him personally, but know that he was a Mountaineer, and a lot of great comments about Tommy, about what kind of man he was. And so our hearts go out. The Mountaineer family wishes the best for the family, and it's just a sad thing. And Frank, really, in my mind, I think I'm 63, and you think that's a young man, and a young person, and it's just a sad situation. But hats off to him for the legacy that he leaves behind. I know Mountaineer fans proud, for sure.
Exactly.
Yep. And I think
He'll
too, Frank. Go ahead, Mickey. I'm sorry.
I just want to say he'll be missed. True Mountaineer.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
And I don't
He's
know.
on?
Do we have Mark with us?
He's okay? Okay. Mark, we're so pleased down in Tennessee. You're spending some time with us today, and we were just talking about Tommy Bowman. If you would share your thoughts about Tommy, and then we'll shift over and end the show talking about tonight's game, TCU West Virginia.
Sure. Tom and I were good friends at West Virginia. I was trained with the football team back when he played back in the 80s, and just a true Mountaineer through and through. Always positive about the team, even when we were having a down year. He was always the devil's advocate that could find the positive in everything, and helped me through a few times when I was struggling, having some problems, and just all around good guy is going to be truly missed. And thought it's just been a sad week, having to. But I've been thinking about him and his family for over the last few days, and just a sad situation.
Shifting to the game that's going to start in 2 hours here in real time. It's 3:45. Your thoughts? TCU, WVU.
Well, it's a tall order to pull this one out. I think to win, I think we'd have to have a perfect mistake-free game. We're down to two quarterbacks on scholarship right now, and if we get somebody banged up tonight, I don't know what that's going to bring about. We've got about 10 players who are out. It's just a tall order. Like I said, if they do play perfect, you've got a crowd. It's homecoming crowd, should be a decent crowd. You've got the reunion of the Bowden era and the 1975 Peach Bowl team. The Coal Rush situation, all the black uniforms and everything. If that can't get you fired up, I don't know what will. I think we're overdue for a win. I'd love to see us pull an upset tonight, but I do think it's going to be a tough one. They've got a mobile quarterback who can throw the ball well, and that's given us trouble all year. And I think we're kind of building for the future now. Is this kind of way I'm seeing it. I think we're just going to take our lumps this year.
You don't know it, but we're here in the restaurant, and I don't know what is there, 200,000-300,000 people in here listening to you. So whatever you say, it's going to be widespread. So make sure you're careful with your words. First of all, I want to apologize for not getting in to see you there last week and a half ago when I was down in Murfreesboro. I was right there in town. It was just a bad day. I was sick the whole time I was there. But Mark, you talk about taking our lumps, and we've talked about this several times on the show. Rich brought in 80 new players, learning a new system, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think? Frank and I have talked about this a couple of times. What is he looking for at this stage of the game, at this point in the season? When you know the season is pretty much over, you're not going to go to a bowl. What do you think the goals are right now for the Mountaineers? That question. What do you think? I know what my feelings are. What do y'all think about that?
Well, as a former Mountaineer player, Greg, I can tell you, no matter what your record is, no matter what the score of this particular game is, as a player, you're out there trying to do your absolutely best that you can do every play to represent not only West Virginia University, but the great people of this state, coal miners of this state, the working class people of this state. There's no quit in a Mountaineer. Even though the scoreboard may not show that you want to be where you want to be, but I can guarantee you the effort is still there, 100%. And as to what they're looking for right now, I think Rich Rod's most likely and his staff, they're looking for kids that display that attitude, that aren't giving up, that are saying, well, the hell with it. We're not going to have a winning season, but I'm going to do the very best I can to execute my assignment on this particular play to represent myself and the state as best I can. And, I don't care if you don't win a single game. If you go 0-12, you play them one at a time. As for me personally, I tell you, we've been sitting here around all this wonderful Italian food all day. I'm ready for some frog legs.
There you go.
Some TCU horned frog legs. That's what I want tonight. How about you, Frank?
Deep fried. Frank, before you go there, Mickey talking about, playing, for the university and representing those type of things. You also have to equate into the fact that, these guys, a lot of them probably figuring they're not going to be here next year, so they've got, they want to perform for whoever's next. You know what I'm saying? If they're going to get an NIL deal somewhere else, maybe at a lower level or whatever, but they don't want to go out there and lay an egg and that be on film. They want to perform. So I don't think you'll see a lot of quit. I think one of the things we've talked about is even though in the games that we've lost badly, they played hard. They never gave up. And as a coach, I coached for 30 years basketball, but when you have kids that play hard and give their all, the effort is there, you can't really fault them too much. They're going to make mistakes, that sort of thing. And if the talent level is not there, you realize that as a coach. And you just want them to play hard, give it all they have. You can't ask for a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is the season could have been very different, as brought up by several of the guests we've had in previous years, with all the injuries. When you think about losing the top two quarterbacks, the top running back, top two running backs, and then one of the top two wide receiver, and then you say, well, your offense can't do much. Well, you've lost a lot of your firepower. And so, and I do think the point you make is not only valid, but I think that's the what. The why, I think, is that you don't see teams giving up as much as you used to see when seasons were lost, because these kids know that it's an audition for their next job, even though it may not be at the same school. So you're absolutely correct on that. And And as we said on our Wednesday show, I'll just give you an example of the depth of understanding. I was talking with my wife Kathy earlier today, and she said, "Oh, that Hoover guy is a really good quarterback." Well, here's my wife who knows the quarterback, the TCU quarterback,
Right.
because he had a tremendous high school career,
Right.
and he's throwing the ball all over the place. But if you look at TCU and you begin to analyze it, they're really strong in the passing department. Not so strong in running. Doesn't mean they won't tonight, but up to this point. And then the other thing is that their defense has been giving up a lot of points.
Yeah.
And so as a consequence, now West Virginia is offensively challenged.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, the bottom line is this game, we'll see. I think we're probably going to see all we need to know is probably going to come in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think in the
hang
games that those games that we've lost badly, UCF, Utah, you could tell right from the get-go what kind of game it was going to be. The BYU game was a little different. We talked about how we felt after that game. Felt pretty good after that game. But the UCF, the Utah game, you can just tell from the get-go that we were in trouble. So I think, we talked the other night, Wednesday on the show, about how important it was for us to get off to a good start. And, I don't mean jump out to a 20-point lead. I'm talking about be competitive, hang in there, have a chance. Then I think you see things a little different. And being at home, I think, is going to help some. You just hope that we come out and get off that good start, not fall behind early, because I think if we get behind early by a couple scores, I think it's going to be a long night. So hopefully we'll get off to a good start and can stand there and be competitive. I think that's what we want. We want to have a chance, and I think I wanted to give you a chance to get your sheet out there, the score totals we picked, and the winners and that sort of thing. So if you want to go ahead and give those to us, we'll take those on.
So Greg has picked WVU as an upset,
right.
28-24.
Feel free to cheer.
Mickey 38-24. Mickey 38-24. WVU, and Frank has picked TCU 56, West Virginia 14. So we'll just see how it goes. Mickey's leading the year-long contest 3-2-2, and so we'll see.
Tight race.
Yeah, tight race. So we'll see how that's going.
I'm not going to give my take that we spoke about off the air on that, on Mickey being ahead of this threesome here with the picks this year, because I'm not sure. I don't know that any of us, other than the first week, I think Mickey was pretty close on the winner and the score. Other than that, I don't think we've been close to the winner or the score on any of them. So, not a real proud thing to be talking about, I guess, for any of us. Yeah, not like last year. Where Mickey dominated, yeah. And now he's you can tell it's gotten bad, Frank, because Mickey has resorted to the Bob Barker method of picking. He waits till we pick, and he goes 1 point under us every time. So we call him Mickey Barker Plumley. Not true. That's right. I'm just messing with Mickey. So, Mickey, we appreciate you. I know you don't feel well. Appreciate you sticking in here with us today. A lot of help. You're a big help, and you add so much to our show. Frank, if nothing else, I guess we need to start wrapping things up so everybody can get out to the stadium. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, watching our pregame show. We will not have a postgame show as the game starts at 6. Won't be over till 9:30. We'll all be snuggled up, or I will be under a blanket by that time, watching intently. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in. We appreciate also, more than he knows, Anthony Colasante for inviting us in to the restaurant today. What a great establishment, great food. Make sure you get in here and give it a shot. You won't regret it, for sure. So with that being said, guys, if there's nothing else, I think, Frank, who do we have Wednesday night? We want to get that out there for you.
I was looking through my notes.
Trying to remember. I can't remember either.
Yeah, I told you earlier, if I don't have it written down, I don't remember.
But we'll make sure we get it out on. We'll have it on Facebook and Twitter, so you'll know who we got Wednesday night. We hope you'll join us then. But again, thanks for tuning in today. We appreciate you for watching. We appreciate our guests that took the time to come up and talk to us. Mickey, thank you for sucking it up and showing your true colors, joining us even though you're under the weather, and also to Anthony Colasante for inviting us in to the restaurant today. We appreciate everyone for watching the Mountaineer Locker Room Then and Now, our pregame show. For Frank Fear and for Mickey Plumley, I'm Greg Christ. Have a great day, everybody, and let's go Mountaineers.